Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Horse Center. I got a horrible echo. Shawn, is that you again? Tonight we have, as Norris, Swiss Army Shawn, myself, and our guest this evening doesn't really need an introduction. His career speaks for itself. We have a Hall of Famer, jockey Jose Santos. Mr. Santos, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, guy. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Doing a little better than Shawn's doing right about now. Shawn had a little duty to take care of before we got on the show. Duty in every sense of the word. But in any case, Mr. Santos, want to follow up with you a little bit about your career, where you came from, and where you're at, and so forth. So you grew up in Chile in a family that was a horse racing family. Tell us about the early days for you in horse racing.
That's correct. I grew up in Concepcion, Chile. I started riding as a professional when I was 15 years old, and was I don't have not much of choice what am I gonna shoot to for my life. So my father, when I was about 12 years old, he asked me if I know how to ride or read. And I said, yeah, I know how to do both. So he said, write something for me and then you read it back to me. So I did. He said, okay, no more school, go to work. So he sent me to work with the horses. We was very poor at the time. He was an old jockey, retired, and he was working as a assistant trainer at the time. So we start working with the horses at 12. Learned how to ride on a pony. When I was 15 years old, I was ready to ride and started in October 24, 1976, when I won my first race. I rode my first mount, I finished third, and then I win a race by disqualification. It's very funny because uh, I finished second in the race. When I was coming back to check my way, my father said to me, claim foul. Claim foul against who, Dad? He said, claim foul against the winner. So, okay, I claim foul against the winner. I went into the steward's office, and the steward say, okay, Mr. Santo, what are you claiming foul against? I say, well, I claiming foul against the winner. I say, why are you claiming foul? Well, my father say that he had holding my Saratao from the last AO mile. And they look at the film, and sure enough, the guy he beat me, he have hold my Saratao and beat me. He was a very experienced guy at the time. So anyway, they put me as a winner. I come out of the steward's office, and everybody was congratulating me, cheer for me. And my dad, he gave me the bigger kick in my butt, and he say, "And next time you put attention."
Yeah.
With different words, but it's next time you put more attention.
I imagine.
It's
I can
that
imagine what the words were like.
Yeah, it was. My father was a very tough man. And we grew up very poor, like can I say, and three my younger brother there was a jockeys as well, and they was very successful back in my country. I got two brothers, they row in Norway, and another one row in Sweden. They stay over there for 25 years. They loved it over there. And I have my younger brother that he row back in Chile. And about 5 or 6 years ago, he got an accident and he got paralyzed from the waist down. So, we did pretty okay in our career anyway. And then from Chile, as an apprentice, it took me about 6 months to win 3 races. And then when I grew up and get a little stronger, in 5 months, I won about 52 races. And you have to have in consideration that we only used to ride only once a week, just the Sundays. So in a short period of time, I went a lot of races, and then I got a contract to go to Colombia. I'm still an apprentice. I have in South America to be a professional, you have to win 60 races. So I only won 56 races when I went to Colombia, but in the first day I knocked those 4 races right away.
Mm.
Uh, but in Colombia, I was now with my father, and I have nobody to tell me what to do, and I just started doing some dancing, drinking, drugs, and I was a bad boy for about 5 or 6 years.
But
And
you were good
then,
on the track still, though, right? Because you were leading money winner like 4 or 5 years down there, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So I decided I met this young lady named Maria Castanera, which is the brother. There used to be a jockeys here in Florida and one in California, Marco Castanera. I don't know if you remember him.
The name rings a bell.
And so I met her. Then so we was on the phone, and she said, "Oh, why you don't come to America? You have ability. Stop what you're doing and come over here." So she convinced me, and she was working with the steward as secretary and also as interpreter because she's was bilingual. But anyway, I came over here, and everything was easy for me to get license, to get my visa and permission for work, and because her.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up marrying her. Later on, we had 2 kids. 10 years later, we went apart, but that's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, I did pretty good in Florida. First 6 months was kind of rough because the barrier of English, and then it's working real hard and start getting some mounts, light mounts. American trainer gave me a big opportunity. His name was PG Sims, as an old timer guy here in Calder. And he's the one he gave me a real shot. And then when I start winning, uh, everybody start giving me some shot. Riding better horses and I think better mounts, better horses. Uh, they make your job as a jockey or as a trainer a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. So
So
you said that one of your favorite horses was Manila, but yet
yeah, it
people
was
know you
Manila.
for Funny Side. So why Manila and not Funny Side?
Uh, Manila was a tremendous horse. He can run from a man at 16 to a man and a half, and he still have that tremendous kick that he used to have. I rode 5 times and win all 5 times. Win at least 3 grade 1 on him, and I think he was one of the superior horses in I ever rode.
Mm-hmm.
Funny Side was special horse. He made me win the race that everybody in this industry dreaming about it, which was the Kentucky Derby.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time when he was a 3 year old, he was a very, very good horse. He picked at the right time. His Kentucky Derby was a great race, but his Preakness was a better race. And then he tailed off a little bit in he got knocked down in the Belmont, but he's a special horse.
And there was a little bit of controversy with him and you afterwards. How good did it make you feel to be vindicated?
It feel really good. Believe me, it feel really good. I don't know if you ever see the replay of the race passing the wire when I opened my hands to tell everybody I was clean. I mean, they accused me and I was using a machine in that horse, and forget about it. They went out right, switching the stick to left and right, and urging my horse the way, and I urging every horse is no way I can use in a machine. And I never in my life using it, you know.
Mhm.
But it was something so stupid, something that was very careless about the guy that he wrote about it, because he don't research enough. Look in the photos. He saw a black or door image in my hands, and he thought right away I was carrying something, but there was nothing in my hand. You
Mhm.
can blow out a picture and you can see clearly there was nothing. It was a dark cloud at that time, and it relieved me when I get vindicated. There was clean. I know all alone. A lot of people, they had doubt about this, and but that's the right track. Right
Mhm.
track. When you're doing good, you're doing something. When you're
Well,
doing
if
bad,
you're
you're not
doing
gonna.
well, people are always taking shots, right? It's when people aren't taking shots at you, you have to be worried because you know that you're at the bottom of the pack. Maybe that's why people don't take shots at us, right, Sean?
Yeah, there you go. So, Jose, speaking of funny side, it's funny. I went back and watched a replay of the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont that year, 2003. And Rich and I were just talking about we hate when we're betting and we got the middle horse because you always feel like you either got the inside or the outside to win. And lo and behold, 2003 Kentucky Derby, you win with funny side in between two horses coming down to the wire. How hard is it to win like that?
Well, it's taken to a real horse to fight with two real good horses. They was trained by the same trainer, the late Bobby Franco, which was an Empire Maker, and uh, can't remember the other one. I know Edgar Prado was riding the other one,
Yep.
uh, but like can I say, he picked at the right time. He was at 100% at the time, and I told Buckley Tag when he runs second in the and New York for the for the Kentucky Derby. I say Barkley, let's go to the Kentucky for sure because he, umpire maker beat me that day, and they say umpire maker was stopping, but funny side was gaining, and past the wire when we pull up, my horse in the galloping hours demonstrate me the he was picking. He was maybe 80% of the time, and the Wood Memorial, that's the race that he finished second. And I know when he got to the Kentucky Derby, he gonna be 100%.
You bring up a good thing there, that gallop out. We hear that all the time about a better. Some betters will throw it out. Some will really use that. How important do you think that is? You're saying there it's pretty important?
It is very important the galloping hour. Even when the horses work in the morning, you see the some horses the galloping out is weak, and some horses the galloping out is strong, and that's the horses you have to put in a lot of attention. And even in the races too, like if I say funny side in the Wood Memorial, the race was mile and eight, and he demonstrated me there, and he's galloping out that he can go farther than that. So he showed to me the man in a quarter it was not a problem, and but you have to have a horse that really are 100% at that level.
You touched it on a little bit when you came over to the U.S. here and had to learn English. I always put myself, how do you do that? How do you get your career started? How do you learn English? How do you do that all in one? And what's that process like?
It is difficult. It's very difficult to learn English, especially. I mean, I went to school for 5 years, and I still learning. So I I say some things sometimes the people don't understand me, and I had to repeat it 2 or 3 times, and you know it's tough to speak the English, but it's even tougher when you write English.
Hmm.
I watch a lot of TV. I read a lot, and I have some American girlfriends.
So when I'm sure when you were winning as many as you did, you probably had many American girlfriends. So when you watch TV, are you watching the Three's Company reruns?
I'm sorry, guy, but it's very hard to understand you right now. It's breaking out.
Okay, my internet's probably acting funny, actually. But when you're watching TV, are you watching Three's Company's reruns?
I can
Sean,
understand
can
what.
you hear me, Sean?
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Jose?
yeah. Now I hear you.
Okay. So Rich was asking, when you are watching TV, are you watching the reruns of Three's Company?
Actually, yes. Actually, yes. Yes, yes.
I,
Uh,
right, I
I,
heard that's
I,
your
I
favorite
love that
TV
show.
show.
I love that show. Yeah.
What's so is the Kentucky Derby your most memorable proud moment, or do you have another one?
Yeah. Can you repeat the question? You breaking out.
Is winning the Kentucky Derby in 2003 your most proud moment, your biggest win, or do you have another one that you look back on?
Uh, I think my bigger moment was definitely winning the Kentucky Derby, but my proud moment riding a horse, it was in the Hollywood Gold Cup when I rode Criminal Tie and beating Sunday Island by a lap. And think that was 1988, 1989. Criminal Tie was, wow, was a hell of a horse.
So when you were elected to the Hall of Fame and you got a standing ovation from the folks there, how did that make you feel?
It's made me feel very proud of myself, because with the people standing over there and clapping, uh, I know I did something good in races, and and I was very proud of myself because I always was very straightforward guy, and helped the little guy always, especially the apprentice, and I earn my respect.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I feel I earn my respect when those people were standing up and give me the ovation.
So when you sit on the couch or you're by yourself at night, like we do as we start to get older, and you reflect back on your life and you think back to when you were a little boy back in Chile, as you mentioned, in a family, a poor family with I would say, a tough but fair father, from what it sounds like you're telling us, to the heights that you achieved in your life. Do you ever sit back and wonder sometimes, man, how did that happen? And do you reflect on that and say to yourself, I can't believe it?
Uh, I say I can't believe it, but I know how that happened. There was a lot of hard work, um, a lot of ups and downs, and like you say now, I sit back and think about it, and I'm 61 years old now, and I say, man, it went too fast.
Well, I'm only 5 years behind you, my man. It goes way too fast. I can
Yeah,
tell you. It's like a blink of an eye, right? What
that's right.
I
I
bet you
say
can remember the first time you won it. It almost feels like yesterday.
that's correct. That's correct. I love to watch pictures, and when I look the pictures, I remember the race. I remember the race when I did in the race, and keep my mind working, and it was. Sometimes I get a little down because, man, I wish I can still do it. I still doing it, but this game is a game for a young men, young
Mhm.
guys, young guns, and you see now, you know, I go to the Jackie's Road and I see kids. They are the grandkid of the guy I used to ride. you
Mhm.
know, so but everyone has their shot in races. Like Braulio Baeza and the 60, 70, Georgie Velasquez, Angel Cordero, Lafitte Pincay. They was a great riders. And then the 80s came, and I included myself in the 80s because I came to America in 1984. By 1986, I was a leading jockey and the nation, and I did it for 4 straight years. And I did it myself. I have a lot of help for a gentleman named Frankie Zanauria, who was my agent. He had all the contacts, but I know how to ride horse, and my father teach me very well how to clack the the races. Get in position and give the opportunity to the horses to win. And I thank God to Frank Sanabria that he put me with good people like Little Jolly, Richard Dutro. I mean, I start mentions people, Scotty Schuhofer, and there was wonderful people they crossed my path, and a lot of them they are gone. This is the different game now. They used to. I always say, when I came to America, one owner used to have 40 horses, and now one horse have 40 owners.
Mm-hmm.
So they make it more difficult.
Inflation.
Inflation, yeah, you're right.
Let's talk about your son a little bit. When people think jockey agent, your son's name's the first name that comes up, Jose Santos Jr. How successful he's been, and talk about him a little bit.
Well, since he was little, he was very quick to pick up and uh, and jockeys. uh, the race passed and he say, Jorge Velasco win, Jacinto Vasco second, my dad finished third, and you Cordero fourth. So he never said the number of the horses or the name of the horses. He go by the jockeys, and he always say, "Oh, so and so went down," right away. He was very special. I can say because he remember every name. Even Chancellor, when we was in the Jackie Run and Michael Smith, they used to call him Little Joe, but they used to call him Mighty Joe because he was so smart at the time. For so little he was. He was at 7 or 8 years old, and he know everybody already, and he know a lot of the horses. He know every jockey, and technologies came along, and he following, and he get through with technology and make him more easy. I don't know how he does it, but he have 7 or 8 jackets.
One of his jockeys is a good friend of the show. He's been on a couple times, David Cabrera. Do you ever hang out with him or get to see him? Because we always say how he always smiles and how happy he is all the time.
He is. Yeah, I've been in Oakland when he was riding, and we go out one time to dinner, and he always
No dancing though, right? And
no
behaving on that night.
no,
All
no,
right.
I'm over that, and he always a happy guy, always a happy guy. He's a good dude.
Seems like it. William wants to know, how many United Nations races did you win?
I won 4 United Nation races. I won, and I believe I have couple second of that.
That race is coming up this Saturday, right after the Haskell, I think.
That's correct. That's correct. And one of the best races I ever won was the United Nations with a horse named Equalize, trained by the late Angel Pena Sr. He was a hell of a trainer.
Sean, you have more questions, my man? I interrupted
The
you like I
headphones
always do. That's what I do.
So obviously you follow the game today. What do you think where we're at? What do you think of Hissa, and do you bet?
I don't bet. I don't bet horses. I mean, funny story. I don't bet horses because when I was making money, I one time I say, oh, I'm gonna bet my horses today. So I ride 5 races in Saratoga. I bet $500 to 3 of the 5 horses, and I was riding. Finished second, twice, and third. And the two in Aaron bets, they won.
Mm.
That's it. No more.
Yeah, that's everybody's experience, though, right? Except
Yeah,
we're not riding the horses, so we
yeah.
don't have. Yeah, for
So
sure.
once in a while, when I go to the track with some friend, we throw $20, and yes, just to for fun. But I don't bet.
What do you think of Hissa, and where do you think horse racing is today?
It's make it very difficult, especially with the icy. I think it is.
Hissa, yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever is making even more difficult. But uh, I don't know. It's not the same. I think races, the best of racing is behind us.
So when
Could
you
you
look at
imagine
this,
having to?
go ahead, Sean.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Could you imagine having to count your whips while you're on the horse?
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
Hmm.
That's terrible because you riding, and you get excited, and somebody wanna coach you, and you start whipping. That's something natural you do, and you don't account how many times you wanna hit. It's something natural. Oh, that guy is gonna beat me. I'm gonna beat him. So you keep pushing and hitting, and you don't account how many times you wanna hit. So there are gonna be a lot of people suspended. There are
Hmm.
gonna be a lot of people and problems.
So when
It
you
should
look
be
at the
not like
jockeys
that.
today, Jose, which one do you think would fit in the best back in the old days?
Wow, that's a great question. I'd say Rosario, Joe Rosario. Yeah, he's very patient, and he can be in the lead. He can come from behind. He can be inside. He's very, very. I mean, he can come from anywhere. I think Rosario is one of the best right now.
Hmm. Is
The
there is there
the
anyone that reminds you of you?
Yeah, I think it's a guy named in New York,
Franco.
Manny
Manny
Franco?
Franco. Yeah, Manny Franco. Yeah, and he reminds me a little bit of me. Yeah, he's more patient. He's. I think he grew up with this or come out in the same school of the Ortiz brother.
Hmm.
Which they are hell of a riders too. But I mean, like can I say, jockey. I'm sorry, horses make jockeys, horses make trainer, uh, and jockey age is very important in this game. They have the connection. If you with the right connection, you win a lot of races.
Hmm. That makes a big difference. I think the case has now been locked, sealed, and forever gone for
I, I,
debate,
I
Sean.
I argue a different thing, Rich. I argue a different thing. I'm just
Sure.
saying.
You
If
know what that's called, Sean?
I'm
That's called moving the goalposts.
no, I'm just saying. Some people just go in the form of the horse, and if there's a jockey on there that I don't find very good, I'll bet against him all the time, and it's a good angle because the jockey does mean a little bit more. You can't just go off a form of the horse.
No, I
Well,
like to see certain kind of jockeys on certain kind of horses, like you mentioned, Manny Franco. I really like to see Manny Franco on a horse that can get forward because I feel like he gets the most out of a horse that's at the front of the pack. Would you say that when you ride, do you prefer any kind of riding style, Jose? Did you like horses that get to the front, to the middle, or as some jockeys told us, the only kind of horse you liked was the winning kind?
well, I used to prefer horses in the grass and horses that be in the middle of the pack. I used to love it when I coming in the end and beaten by a nose, beaten by a half lane. That was kind of my expertise. My favorite distance was a mile. I think mile races you have to be very clever to know where you're gonna be in the race, and you need a little bit of luck to get through in the inside cutting corners, and I think that's very important, cutting corners and the turns, and by the time when you're on the top of the straight, you uh, with stride distance to win the race. You know, to be 2 or 3 lanes behind the leader, and when you ask him to your horse, you know the horse is gonna respond for you,
Mm-hmm.
and
And,
that's the best feel ever.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned earlier on that your father instilled a very good clock in your head, which I feel like is to me, I think that's hugely important. Jose Ortiz said it was the single most important thing for a jockey to have a good clock, so you don't go too fast and you have your horse in the right place. So one of my biggest pet peeves, things that makes me the angriest as a horse bettor, is you're watching a race at Parks, a lower level track. They're going to run a mile and a 16th, and you have a horse that goes out by itself in 21. You know the horse can't win. I know watching TV, it can't win at 21. I'm in Chicago watching a horse in Philadelphia. I know it can't win. So how can jockeys, how can they work on their clock so they don't go out in 21? But why sometimes do these guys go out and get like a 5 length lead? Wouldn't a 1 length lead do, or a 1.5 length lead do? Why does sometimes that happen?
I'm gonna explain it to you. Why does some happen? Sometimes happen. Sometimes because the instructions they're trying to tell you to do that. Try to steal the race, open 5 on them, uh, and sometimes you push the horse leaving the gate a little too hard, and the horse get rank, and they take off, and they lose all the energy in the beginning. I think that's two of my theories. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's that can happen, you know, and it is better, yeah, like you say, to save force, open a lane or two, but you have two different opinion on me. They can think they can happen like that, you know, horse get rank and get away from the jockey, or they're trying to try to steal the race, open 5, 6, or 7 lanes, and if we do it, we do it. If not, it's my fault. They're trying to say.
It's your
Yeah,
fault, the jockey, right? When
yeah,
it wins, I'm sure, I bet when they told you to go up by 5 and you won, they took credit. And then when you went up by 5 and lost, it's your fault, Jose, right? Isn't that how that worked?
they always blaming the little guy. Believe me.
I'm sure, for sure.
Yeah,
It's like being around my house. I'm the biggest one in my house, but I still get all the blame. I think it's just a guy thing. We get all the blame for
might
sure.
be.
It could be for sure.
Yeah.
Shawn, you have any more questions for Mr. Santos?
Yeah. Was there any track that you never got to ride at that you always wanted to ride at?
Uh, More or less, yeah. Actually, it's in Europe. I was pretty sure one day I was gonna ride in Ascot. Uh, I rode Lonchan and Chantilly, beautiful track, but I never had the pleasure to ride in Ascot. Now it's getting more popular because American is start sending horses there now,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the races, 24 horses, 30 horses. I love it because when I was a kid, we have a track called in Club Pico de Santiago. They run the shortest field is 18 horses. So, you know, I used to do that. So when I came to America, we have 10 horses, 6 horses. Now the popular track like Saratoga, Del Mar, they field the race pretty good with 12 or 13 horses. And that's nothing for when are learning, you know, with
Mm-hmm.
18 horses. At one time, we was 22 horses running in the race. Spiel came up. 9 of us went down. So,
Brings
Did
up
you
a
ever
good
watch
point.
that marathon race that they have over there like that, where it's like 3 miles and they're jumping over fences? I forget.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
called the Grand National. I
The
think it's
Grand
called.
National. That's 50 horses,
Mm-hmm.
48 horses, and they probably and then they get to the wire maybe to.
It's like a Santa Anita race when they get to the wire. There's only 4 horses left.
That's right.
Yep,
That's
yeah.
right.
And you talk about jockeys falling off. I think just about every jockey falls off, except the ones that stay on are the ones that are still there at the end.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I actually just watched a Facebook clip where there was 3 horses left, and the leader spilled, and the other horse had a huge lead. They go around the final jump. He spills, and there's only 1 horse that crosses the wire.
Oh my goodness!
It was crazy. I can't.
Just 49 bettors ripping up their tickets. Only 1 left.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Mr. Santos, we appreciate your time this evening.
Great.
Hopefully, if we're ever down in Florida or you're up somewhere around we stop and say hello.
Of course.
Until then, we hope you have continued success and happiness and health, and we'll talk with you soon.
Same to you guys, and thank you so much for having your program.
Oh, no, thank you for coming. The pleasure has been ours. Have a wonderful evening.
So do you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Shawn, that's always fun, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What a phenomenal story and guest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I was young, had a little bit of money, so we went out and had a lot of fun. Hey, I tell you, I didn't maybe have as much money or that sort of success, but when I was young and had a little bit of money, I went out and had some fun too, Shawn.
Yeah, I never really hit that stage. I might hit that stage for about a year, and then I was always behind with that kind of stage. Just not something.
You're talking about the money or having fun or out dancing? Which one?
Well, all of it. No, I was talking about the going out, but we could throw it all in if you want.
You can just lump it all in there, right? Well, A goes with B, it goes with C, right? You got to have a little bit of money to go out. And if you ain't got a whole lot of money and you're out, you can't have a whole lot of fun.
I'm always behind the 8 ball. When there was people that always wanted to go out, I didn't want to go out. When I wanted to go out, people don't want to go out. It's always that way for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of fun for me as a teenager. At times, we got a little carried away, but that's what sometimes young men can get that way. It happens. So be it. I can't imagine being young, handsome, and rich. I was young and handsome, didn't have the rich part aside from the name. All right, Shawn, here we go. Del Mar opening this Friday, headlined by a 14-horse Oceanside Stakes race. Shawn, are you looking forward to the Del Mar meet?
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see if they get full fields like that. That'll be great to see with the whole thing going out west with short field. So I know they got all kinds of incentives. Yep.
Yeah, they have the whole incentive program out there, but I think they actually tried to apply that incentive program at Santa Anita, and for whatever reason, it didn't work as well as it works at Del Mar. Do you think it's just location? Everybody wants to go to Del Mar?
I guess, yeah, I guess it is. Or I don't know what else would be the difference. It's got to be the location.
Well, I've been to Santa Anita. I haven't been to Del Mar. Santa Anita is an absolutely beautiful track against the background of the San Gabriel Mountains. I have not been to Del Mar, but I would like to get out there one day.
Yeah. What's funny is I was watching, and this comes out with Jose too. I was going to bring it up. The Belmont in 2003, it only had 6 horses. Could you imagine a Belmont having 6 horses today and all the people ripping that to shreds? You know what I mean? That we only have 6 horses in the biggest race. I mean, we get that every weekend. It seems we get 5 or 6 horses, and people are having a fit. Mm-hmm. In 2003, they had 6 horses in the Belmont.
Well, I would think that, Shawn, people are going to have a fit no matter what. That's just that's sort of what
difference between 2003 and 2022. It doesn't seem that big.
Well, I think the biggest difference is called Twitter.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you don't have social media for every beer drunk minus the beer, beer muscle person minus the beer on the keyboard can say whatever they want without any repercussions, right?
Yeah. You know what's funny too is looking back on the replay, and every time TVG does it too, you see the replay from 2003. 2003, I was 18. I'm 37 now. The replays look like 1940s. Like the graphics did not look that bad in 2003, but apparently
because they were new at that time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was the newest of the new. I'm sure that when our grandkids look back on this, they're going to be laughing at you and me. Look at these 2 clowns. And right now it's the latest technology. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm sure it'll be fun. So the other day you had mentioned nobody's beating Jack Christopher. He's going to kill every horse in the field, except the odds maker says, Shawn, I'm listening. Rich Taiba is the favorite in the $1 million Haskell. So, Shawn, is Baffert going to be the steal the show, or are you going to hang your hat on Jack Christopher? Speaking of which, we'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. Who's our guest tomorrow night, Shawn?
Samantha Perry, Monmouth analyst, and she comes on TVG sometimes as well. So she'll be on tomorrow night. So I'll start being better at the media part too. You said, will I change my opinion, or do I still think Jack Christopher is? Tune in tomorrow and find out.
Ooh, nice, Shawn. They call that a tease.
Yeah, I screwed up Tuesday or whatever when I was saying, but I'm surprised at that morning line, to tell you the truth.
Well, one's a slight favorite over the other. I'm not all that shocked. It's Bob back. Maybe they put the good hay in that stall. I kid, Bob. I'm only kidding. Anyway, so one final story this evening. The death of horse racing is, I guess, at least the money is there anyway. This is pretty interesting. You have a $250,000 allowance races for 2-year-olds of Keeneland September grads. That's a lot of money for an allowance race, Shawn. Have you seen a $250,000 allowance race before?
I'm not aware that I did. I mean, I might have, but I'm not aware that I did. So
yeah, I don't recall ever seeing that one that big. This whole meet is going to have $18 million up for grabs at Kentucky Downs from September for what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 dates, 7 dates, 18 million. That's a little bit of quick math, about $2.5 million a day. That's some big money down there in Kentucky to run. I'm looking forward to that meet. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they do some great stuff out there, some great racing. The only thing is, I just don't like watching it. The camera angles, the stretch, like everything's a little weird with that track. So it's takes some time to get used to. But other than that, it's a great product, and they put some great things together.
Mm-hmm. And one of the horses that's going to be there apparently is a horse that's Alex Bergman, the third baseman for the Houston Astros. He has a horse running there called Cadillac Candy. He's going to be running. And you know what, Shawn? We've tried to get Mr. Alex Bergman on this show, and he ghosts us. Damn it, Alex. If anybody knows Alex, we want to talk to you about horse racing. We don't want to talk to you about banging garbage cans or any of that kind of stuff. We want to talk to you about horse racing, damn it. So if anybody knows Alex Bergman, if we're 1 or 2 degrees of separation away, please let him know. There's a couple of guys that in about 40 years, the grandkids are going to make fun of them for the show that they put on, but they would like you to have on this show as well to talk about Candy Cadillac and other horse racing things so your grandkids can make fun of you too.
Or anybody close to Kentucky Downs that can go that day and get close enough to them.
Yes, indeed.
buy some HRT gear
and throw it at him.
Yeah, they do something. They'll throw it at him.
You know what you can do to get his attention for sure, Shawn?
What's that?
Bang a garbage can.
Yeah, but then don't say try coming on HRT, because then he definitely won't come.
I joke, Shawn. I'm sure he would get it. He's got to have some sense of humor. All right, Shawn. So today I had a rough day at Delaware Park. That's part of this game. I had hit and I really should have had the early pick 4. I need a 3-horse. I was deciding to be the 3 in the first race, the 3-horse and the 7. I went with the 7, 50-50. Ended up hitting all the other ones. And that was a $3,000 pick 4. So tomorrow, you know what we do tomorrow, Shawn?
We go right back to it?
There we go, right back to it. Joe DiMaggio was on a 52-game hitting streak. I think he missed the next game and went on like a 19-game hitting streak after that. So tomorrow we start the second wave of the Joe DiMaggio hitting streak.
I hope it's India, right? I hope their Delaware day was Thursday, not Wednesday.
No, it's
right?
Turkey.
Turkey. What I say? India.
Today was their Delaware day. I'm probably person non grata in Turkey today, my friend.
Yeah,
I'm probably on the evening news over there. People throwing things.
If our views go down next Wednesday, we know what happened.
Yes, we do indeed. Well, they went up yesterday for Colonial Down, so we'll try to repeat that tomorrow at Saratoga at 12 o'clock. We're not going to repeat Delaware. We're going to repeat earlier the Colonial Down stuff. So we'll be prepared for that. And then tomorrow again, Samantha from the announcer at Monmouth Park will join us to go over to Haskell and a couple of other races, including the United Nations. I think it's just going to be Shawn and I and Samantha tomorrow. So because Terry has had an emergency, so we wish him and Honey Bunny well. Tom is on vacation. Chris is going to go to Saratoga. So that just leaves you and me, kid. We'll knock that show out. It'll be the best show ever anyway. And then Friday will be off because Tom, as I mentioned, is on vacation. No Fantastic Fridays. But throwing tomatoes for sure, William. They probably all sorts of things are thrown at me over there. But and then on Saturday, Chris P and Eddie C will be back for their spot plays for Saratoga and going over the Haskell as well. And then next week, maybe midweek, Terry might be back. We'll find out. But Tom and I will be doing Glorious Goodwood during the week next week. So I'll probably have Tom as my co-pilot next week all week. So that wraps it up for today, Shawn. We'll see you tomorrow. Whatever you're doing on this hump day evening, whatever you're going to do tomorrow when we get together for Saratoga, for our evening with Samantha and the Haskell, we hope whatever it is that you do ends up much like Jose Santos did thousands and thousands and thousands of times, and that's that it ends up in the
winner circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.